Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Dee and Doug Retire. How are you? I hope you're doing well. From the title, Phobias, that the 29 phobias that people have. Now, I'm not making fun of the people because I found myself in some of these phobias, just so that you know. And I'm going to go over the phobias with all of you. You may want to leave in the comment section below what your phobia might be, but some of them were quite funny. So let's get started and go over these phobias together. Okay, are we ready to begin? The first phobia is the fear of being buried alive. Yes, that was the first. Now, I have never heard of something like this before until I did a little research. Now, you know your girlfriend is going to go down a rabbit hole of so many things. And you should know me by now. You really should. And back in the 1700s, the plague was running rampant, okay? So doctors were pronouncing people dead, and they really weren't dead. So fear is people were going to be buried alive. Even I couldn't believe that, but yes, it did come up that people were afraid that they were going to be buried alive. Oh my, thank goodness we have some sort of technology in this country nowadays. Let's go on to the second one. Now, here's the second one. Fear of mirrors. Fear of mirrors. Yeah. Now listen, I'm a big girl. Let's be real. And when I look in the mirror, sometimes I go, oof. Or when I get up in the morning, oh, Lord, have mercy. You know, it's true. It's true. I don't know how many people just get up in the morning and go, here I am, world. Look how beautiful I look without a shower, hair on end, teeth disheveled. You know, not too many. Not too many. Those are the people with the most confidence in the whole wide world. Unfortunately, I don't have that. But it is funny because it basically is, and I'm looking at something and it's because of depression that people have a fear of mirrors. And I went, okay. I took it the other way, just like, oh, no, I don't want to see myself that early in the morning when I look in a mirror. And yet I do it every morning and I do the same thing. Oh, no. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Number 3, fear of rain. Fear of rain. Yeah, the stuff that, just in case the accent's not getting right, the stuff that falls out of the sky. But it is, people are fearful of weather because they're afraid a tornado is coming or there's going to be a snowstorm or their power is going to go out. So they fear the weather. And I never really had that fear before. Maybe when I first moved to Pennsylvania, I had that fear, but then I became a prepper and that fear went away completely. That fear really went away. So I can relate to that particular phobia. Let's go to the next one. Okay, so here's another one. The fear of sound. Yes, like doors closing. Some people don't like the idea of a door closing. Or you know when you get that eerie, people are actually afraid of that. I had no idea, but they are afraid of it. So loud conversations. Some people are afraid of loud conversations. People that overlap one another when they're speaking. So that's an actual fear. I don't have this fear, but somebody out there may have it. So it's the fear of sound. Let's go on to the next phobia. The fear of numbers. I know, even I said the same thing. I don't understand that. I had to look this up and it said, though not in the sense that a person believes in giant number ones or giant zeros are hiding under their bed, although with this recent hand-on wrangling with technology, maybe they should, instead of pneumophobia, usually pops up as a fear of doing math or dealing with numbers. So it's called pneumophobia. Yeah, I had no idea that even existed. I mean, I wasn't good in school. I mean, not in math anyway. So I can see where that might be a phobia for some people. Fear of numbers. The next phobia, fear of ants. Yes, people have a fear of ants. I could see where that could be a problem for some people. You know, over the summer, people experience ants coming into their house. I mean, let's be real. They can get into every crevice. Now, there are some people that can take that with a grain of salt and get some bug spray and eliminate that, or get an exterminator and eliminate the ants and probably any other bug that's in your house. But there are people that actually have fears and phobias of that, like a swarm, when they're swarming. So that is a fear, and that is a fear and a phobia. Now, here's another one for you. The fear of the ocean and deep water. Now, I get this fear. I really do. Ever since what? in 1976, 75, the movie Jaws came out. Dun, 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 dun. You know, I didn't want to step a toe in the ocean then. I was so damn afraid, even though I was surrounded by oceans. I did grow up in Long Island, New York. And most people did get that fear in them of going into deep water. Now, I'm also a Pisces. At the end of the month, I will be 65. And being a Pisces means I love water, which I absolutely do. I do love water. But I can understand the fear of water and the fear of deep water, especially if there's somebody that doesn't know how to swim. So that's definitely a phobia. Now, this should perk you up. The fear of teenagers and adolescents. Now, I'm saying to myself, really? Do people actually fear children? Do they? Do they really fear them? But people do, because they don't know what kind of mood these teenagers or children are going to be in. And they may have this phobia in them that thinks that they may be attacked. You know, and that's true, a fear. That is a true fear. As you get older, some elderly people are afraid to be around teenagers. Not me. Not me. But people do have that fear, so it is a phobia. And I just had to pass it on to all of you. Let's go to the next one. Now, this one I think we can all relate to. No, we can't. But I can relate to it personally, maybe in my own family. The fear of fresh air. I know. This to me was, I busted out laughing. I'll be real. Could you imagine fearing fresh air? Now, I'm going to say something. My mother's probably going to hate this when I say this, because she's going to watch. Hello, Mother. My mother would put cotton in her ears. Yes, she would. And she would say, Denise, the wind, it might not even be windy, but she says, you know, the air is getting in my ears. It's going to cause an infection of some sort in there. So there are people that have a fear of air. And even though my mother right now is probably going, oh my God, I can't believe she just said that. It is true, because she did put cotton in her ears no matter where we were going. And it could be a beautiful day. So I'm assuming my mother has the fear of fresh air. I didn't even know this was a phobia. Well, here we go. Here's another one, the fear of chickens and hens. Now, I know that there are people that are fearful of birds. That I have seen, and it is a phobia. Again, I'm not afraid of a chicken or a hen, but some people truly are, because they're afraid that they're going to get pecked, or pecked to death. So I guess that is a fear that some people have. That is a phobia. We all know that a chicken or a hen is not going to peck you to death, but it's a phobia. On to the next one. My mother truly is going to kill me on this one as well. I know she is. Right now, she's just going to be so angry when I see it. People have the fear of dust. I mean, oh God. Occasionally they say librarians, because the books are dusty and dirty, so they have a fear of the dust. Now, I'm thinking there are also people that extensively clean. And again, my poor mother, I'm throwing her right under the bus, because my mother is the most cleanest person I have ever met in my entire life. And I think if she sees dust, she panics. So there are people that actually have a fear of dust. Once again, we're at my house. So I'm sure if I did this right now, yep, there's a little speck. And I can laugh on that one. I never even knew this phobia even existed. The fear of long words. Long words. Okay. All right. So apparently, if you're dyslexic, you're going to be fearful of a larger vocabulary. And I get that. But I'm assuming it's not just for people that might be dyslexic. I think it's for a lot of people that if they have to do some sort of public speaking and some gigantic word comes out and they have to read it on a teleprompter, they're probably going, oh my God, what do I do? So yes, I can see that can be a possible fear. I'd make up some word. I'm sure as I was just reading a teleprompter, I would make something up as my head would go in that direction. I'm sure it would. Let's go into the next one. Now, this I have heard, fear of balloons. Hey, listen, they're worried that they're going to pop and they're going to hear this big sound and this big explosion. Popping balloons is a big thing. Some kids really never get over it. You know, when they were little kids and they were at birthday parties and kids would pop the balloons. And to this day, even as adults, some people can't listen or hear balloons being popped. You know, it's a phobia. I'm just saying, it's a phobia. Now this one, Fear of fear itself. Oh, how do you dive down this one? But actually, it is panic attacks, anxiety, people that are fearful all the time, and they literally can throw themselves into having panic attacks, anxiety attacks. So that's got to be scary as all hell. I would think that would be number one. Fear of fear itself. Like, that's got to be tough on a lot of people. And there are millions of people in our country that have, anxiety disorders, and they are on medication for it. So I can't imagine being fearful all the time. It has to be awful. It's got to be something that's really super awful for them. Fear of all animals. Now, we all know people fear dogs. I mean, that's a biggie. Now, of course, I don't. Nah, please. But people fear snakes. They do. And rats. They do. And mice. They do. I can go down this whole line with all of you. But there are people that actually have a fear of animals. And I could see that. And that's definitely a fear. But it's also a phobia. I don't know if it's a fear or a phobia when it comes to dogs. Because some people are actually fearful and some people actually have a phobia against it. And I guess maybe it's doing the same thing. But fear of animals. Fear of animals. Now, this one you're not going to believe, but it was on the list. Fear of vomiting. Yeah, throwing up. Now, I have never had this fear before my entire life, but it basically explains that the fear would be doing it in public. So it would be embarrassing for you. So that would be a fear. Now, my biggest fear is if I'm throwing up in public, to be real with all of you, I'm not worried about how you feel at the time because there's definitely something going on with me. So, no, I don't have that fear, nor do I have that phobia. But there are people that have that fear and phobia. I can't imagine. I really cannot imagine that people go through that in their life, in their minds. Please, God, don't let me throw up in front of these people. But I guess it does happen. Well, this one you're all going to relate to. I know you all going to relate to. Fear of not being with your smartphone. I know. As Denise has a flip phone that she uses. Yeah, I do. I don't do the whole smartphone. I don't like them. I don't like them as my telecommunication. No, I'll just use a flip phone if I have to dial 911 while I'm out in the street somewhere. Again, I said that completely wrong. When I'm out and about, that's when I would, have my flip phone. But people actually have a fear of it. Now, this is true because when you can't find your iPhone somewhere in your house, like I've seen it happen to Doug. He's like, where did I put it? Where did I put it? Oh my God, where's my phone? Where's my phone? And you all know you've done that. So that is definitely a fear and a phobia. Here we go. Here's another one for you. The fear of urinating. There's no other way of putting it. So this is basically if you are somebody that has a bladder problem, so you're afraid that maybe there might be a little leakage, or it also is a social anxiety if you're in, say, a restroom and you don't want other people to hear you urinate. So that is as easy as I could make it, but I have to say, it did put a little bit of smile on my face. I'm not kidding, and I'm sorry. If you have these phobias, I'm terribly sorry, but that one was like, really? People are afraid to pee? I don't understand it. But again, it's a phobia. Here you go. Here's another one. The fear of initiating sleep. Literally, people are afraid of having sleep paralysis as they drift off, basically not being able to move, even though they're still partly awake. Now, let me say something to all of you. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody? Now, I can relate to this one, just so that you know. And I have said, because I've been in their company before, and after this, have you ever fallen asleep in front of someone as they were talking? Well, it has happened to me. Yes, it has. And every time I was in this person's company, I would always say, and literally it would be in my head going, please, God, please don't let me sort of drift off when they're talking. So it has happened to me. But as far as a fear and a phobia, that person probably was devastated that I literally went, I started nodding off. I was so bored with the conversation. I was so bored with the conversation that I literally fell asleep. Now, I had no idea that this was a fear of frogs. I had no idea people feared frogs. feared frogs. I try to say that 10 times quick, Denise, with this accent. Anyway, but they are. But they also say to avoid hiking and being out in nature would be something that would be an equivalent to why you're fearing frogs. Maybe you don't like to be out in nature. Maybe you don't like to go hiking. Maybe you don't like to visit the Natural History Museum. Yeah, that's what they said, basically. And I don't have to be afraid of frogs. I'll be real with all of you. No, I'm not hiking. Now, here you go with this one. Fear of everything. I don't know how you live if you're fearful of everything. Now, basically, they're saying that panophobia, that's what this is, panophobics, are often frightened by darkness or harmless noises. But more broadly, people have panophobia, have fear of stemming from identity causes. So I'm thinking if you're afraid of everything, there's a lot more going on up here. Because I can't even imagine being afraid of everything. It must be horrible to wake up in the morning and say, I'm fearful of the toast I may burn or what I may eat. I mean, seriously, I would think that I'm not even making light of that. I can't believe the fear of everything. That is scary. Now, here's another one, the fear of forgetting or being forgotten. Now, I know a lot of us, especially if you're a YouTube creator, or any kind of creator out on social media, it might be a fear of yours to say, you know what, people are going to forget about me. They're not going to remember me. But if I have my YouTube channel, my Facebook, my Instagram, my TikTok, whatever, if these things are still around, people won't forget me. They'll see me. Now, that's not the reason why I make my videos. No, it wouldn't be, because I know people will forget who I am very quickly. But I don't have a fear of it. And there are people that have the fear of being forgotten. And I think that's sad, don't you? Fear of clothing. Now, I had no idea this would even existed. But they do explain if you're somebody that's in the military and you have PTSD and it has to be military related, you might see something militarily related in clothing and really might just get so fearful and you don't want to see that stuff. So I can understand that fear of clothing could be, especially for somebody in the military, but I never heard of it before. Have you? You know what? Please do me a favor. Let me know. I mean, not that I need to know, but have you heard of any of these things? You could leave them in the comment section below and let me know what your phobias are. And we can all read them together. And there's no judgment here. Do not judge other people for their phobias. Just leave it in the comment section below. Could you relate to some of these? Or do you have any of these? Okay, your girlfriend's going to be able to relate to this real fast. The fear of food. I know I'm laughing, people, but it's the truth. How many people are afraid to eat? You'd be surprised how many people are afraid of food, especially people that are, trying to lose weight, trying to stay within a weight category, trying to have medical issues where they're literally starving themselves. You all know what I mean. And they have a fear of food. This little fat girl, they don't feel bad for me that I call myself that. Please don't, because it's just how I describe myself. I could always say little angel cherub if you'd like. But this girl definitely has a fear of food. I'm so afraid. I go, how many calories in that before I put it in my mouth? I mean, really? I've had that fear for quite some time. I bet some of you have too. I bet you have. Okay, here's another one for you. The fear of blushing. Yeah, can you imagine? It's a phobia. They're afraid to blush. You know, if you're getting embarrassed and... Hi, could I lose my voice already? People get embarrassed and they start blushing, and people say that for some people that is a phobia that makes them feel embarrassed. And I guess that can happen. You know, we've all seen people blush. You know, you say something to them and they start blushing, and they know they're blushing and they don't want to show you that side of them. So I guess it is a fearful, not that I have that. You know, there are some things I have, there are some things I don't, but that is a phobia. The fear of being cold. Now, it said it may be especially common with the Chinese culture because the Eastern philosophy principles of yin and yang, hot and cold, exposed to associate with heartache, stomach ache, and illness. Now, fear of cold has nothing to do, I have the fear of cold, I hate the cold. And my husband will tell you, anybody in my family, my friends would tell you the same thing. I get so frightened because I just go, oh my God, it's so cold. I don't want to go out in that weather. And I talk myself into staying home. I really do. I'm not a winter girl, as you can tell, and yet I do love it here. But there are people that actually have the fear of cold. Being cold, being in a house that's cold, losing their heat, their bodies. So it is an absolute phobia. Now, I don't know if it's a phobia for me or just a lifestyle, but it is a phobia. Well, here we go again. Fear of dining. Fear of dining. And I said to myself, all right, now I'm going down that rabbit hole. But basically, it's the fear of a dinner party, like going to dinner parties. Now, I'm going to say something to you because there are some people that I believe and I have known to stay away from social gatherings because either they feel that they're not versed enough to sit and have conversation over a table and be able to participate in things, which your girlfriend has never had that problem. I just want you to know that right now. Denise never had that problem to sit there and conversate with a bunch of people, even people she doesn't know. But that is a fear. I know it's a fear. I have seen it happen to people where they just shut down. They don't want to speak. They're afraid of saying the wrong thing. And I get that. That I do understand. All right. This one is an actual fear, phobia. It's a phobia. The fear of work. Yeah, you heard me. The fear of work. People actually have social anxiety. And to be around other people is fearful for them, and that becomes a phobia. Especially, I would say, in 2020, really 2020, when most people were working from home, and then they got used to it. They were happy to be in their own homes. They felt more secure. And then when they said, hey, listen, people, you got to come back to work, I think a lot of people became disabled because they didn't want to go back to work anymore. They want to work, but they didn't want to go back into the office space. So I could see where that could be a fear and a phobia, is just the fear of work and leaving your house. So those are just some of the phobias. If you'd like to leave some of your phobias in my comments section below. I thought it was interesting, to be honest with you. I really did. I didn't know that some of these even existed, but I found it interesting. If you found this interesting too, my friends, please give this video a thumbs up, consider subscribing, ring the notification bell. It's going to let you know when I put out another video. But until the next time, my friends, be kind to one another. The heart is all that matters. And you know, I will see you all again. Mwah! Take it easy, my friends.